Don't cut a board with a hammer. Successful marketing and business strategies all begin with a complete and accurate understanding of the marketplace. So, you ask, how do we get this understanding? The answer is market research. Market research is nothing more than tools and technique that give us information that help us understand customers in the marketplace. Think of it this way. There are two different camps of market research. There is a qualitative research camp, which is basically talking to a small number of people about their ideas and opinions, where the data are spoken words and phrases. There is also a quantitative research camp, which is basically surveying a large group of people and deals with analyzing survey data with statistics, where data are numbers. These camps are very different. They have completely different philosophies, different approaches, and very different techniques. Each camp has specialized tools and techniques that are designed to get specific types of information. Just like you wouldn't cut a board with a hammer, or you wouldn't tighten a bolt with a saw, you should use these market tools in the appropriate situation as well. Let's first talk about the qualitative camp, which is basically talking to a small number of people. The common tools in the qualitative camp are focus groups, in-depth interviews, or one-on-one interviews, and observations. During focus group, a moderator sits down and talks to a group of 6 to 12 customers. The moderator gets these customers to talk at length about their ideas, their opinions, and experiences. Focus groups are great at getting a wide range of customer opinions. For example, a moderator will sit down and talk to 6 smartphone users, getting the users to talk in detail about how they use their smartphones, what they really like about their smartphones, and maybe even what they don't like about their smartphones. During in-depth interviews, the interviewer talks with one customer at a time. Relative to focus groups, in-depth interviews usually get a smaller range of ideas, but are better at getting a more in-depth understanding of these ideas. For example, an interview may talk to one smartphone customer at length about their experiences, getting the user to talk in detail about their favorite apps, why and how they use them, or getting smartphone customers to talk about their favorite features and why, and how they use them. With some topics, people have difficulty talking about certain issues. If customers can't talk about the topic, aren't willing to talk about the topic, or just won't talk honestly about the topic, then observation, or just watching them, may be the tool of choice. If we didn't think customers could talk about shopping experiences honestly, well, then we may just watch them shop and observe what and how they actually shop. The two key strengths of the qualitative camp are delivering what I call D squared, depth and discovery. Discovery is learning about new things that we didn't know before we started the research. Depth is about learning detailed insight or wisdom about customers, knowing the why behind what they say and what they do. For example, researchers want to discover what smartphone features may be missing, or discover in what ways current smartphones may frustrate or irritate customers. Then, researchers need a deep understanding and insight into these frustrations so that they know how to improve the product. The qualitative camp has one key limitation or weakness. It does not generalize to the population. I like to say, hey, no G. In other words, the qualitative camp does not allow research to translate the research results to the entire population or marketplace. Just because we talk to 15 customers and we know them in depth, we cannot, and I repeat, not assume that the research findings will be the same for the marketplace. During an election year, it is common to see news shows hold focus groups with likely voters. The focus groups usually start talking about their likes and dislikes for both candidates, which is appropriate for the qualitative camp. But then, typically at the end of the focus group, they ask voters, who would they vote for if the election was today. Then they report the findings, something like 75% of the focus group would vote for this candidate. Don't believe the findings, not for a minute. This is a classic mistake or misuse of focus groups. They simply cannot generalize to the population. Talking with 12 people is not a reliable way to predict how the United States of America will vote in the next election. Now, let's talk about the quantitative camp, which is basically surveying a large group of people and deals with analyzing survey data with statistics, where the data are numbers. A key strength of the qualitative camp is that the results deliver G. Yes, the results can generalize to the population. If we have enough people in our study, then the researcher can translate the research findings and apply them with confidence to the entire population or marketplace. For example, during an election year, it is common to see a number of election surveys or polls aimed at finding out who will win the upcoming election. Many of these polls are accurate, within plus or minus 3 or 4 percentage points. Why? Surveys are excellent at generalizing to the population. They've got G, you might say. But the limitation or key weakness of the quantitative camp is that we don't get D squared. We don't get depth and discovery like we get with that other camp, the qualitative camp. Using our election example, we may know who will win the upcoming election, but these polls may not give us a deep understanding or insight into why voters really like one candidate and not the other. Typical research tools in the quantitative world include surveys or experiments. Surveys are by far the most popular tool, and most of us have taken a number of surveys. The most common type of survey is the customer satisfaction survey, where companies want to know the customer's opinions of their products and services. From this research, we will know what is important to customers, what parts of the product customers like, what parts of the product customers don't like, and this will guide the company on how to improve the product, so that eventually customers will be more satisfied with that product in the future. My market research class in the past conducted a customer satisfaction survey with avid Facebook users. The results showed that users really like how Facebook kept them connected to friends and family. However, the results also showed that many Facebook users thought privacy was most important to them, and that they were not happy with Facebook privacy policies, and they wanted to see this aspect improved. Many times, companies use these different camps in the wrong situation, where they solely rely on one camp and not the other. Unfortunately, this is common. A much better approach is to know what you need to know, then pick the right tool for the job. Again, don't cut a board with a hammer. If you want to know D squared, depth and discovery, use the qualitative camp. Talk to customers. If you want the results to G or to generalize, use the quantitative camp. Survey your customers. Yet, the best approach by far is to use these camps together, where the strengths and weaknesses of one camp complement the strengths and weaknesses of another camp. We call this research triangulation. These camps actually work together quite well, kind of like peanut butter and jelly. And who doesn't love peanut butter and jelly? As I mentioned before, our customer satisfaction research with avid Facebook users found that privacy was a weakness that needed to be improved. Our focus groups and in-depth interviews discovered detailed information as to why it was a concern and exactly how customers wanted it to be fixed or improved. By using these different camps together, market researchers get a complete and accurate understanding of the marketplace. And we get synergies, kind of like 2 + 2 = 5. And remember, if we have a complete and accurate understanding of the marketplace, then our chances of developing a great strategy for our product, well, they improve significantly.